Hi, I'm Bridgette with PotomacBeads.com. Join me today in creating this beautiful necklace, Pharaoh's flower. If you need any of these materials, they were listed at the beginning of the video, as well as down below me in the description area. You'll find a full list of materials, as well as exact colors I used, and links to both PotomacBeads.com and PotomacBeads.eu. So gather up your materials and come create with me. All right, so to start this Pharaoh's flower necklace, I have 6 of my EyeDuos here. I have my Evas and my 2x3 crystals, as well as my 15s, which I will move over. So I'm starting out with the focal pendant here. So what I'm gonna do just go through all of my EyeDuos, and I'm gonna tie a knot around so that they kind of stay in that round flower shape, and then go from there. Also, I will be adding flatback crystals to these, but I decided I'm not going to do that till the end so that I'm not worrying about the glue kind of not being dry and coming apart while I'm working with it. So you can either glue it before and just make sure you have time for that glue to dry, or just wait till you have the necklace done and then glue from there. So I have my 6 EyeDuos. I'm gonna let those all kind of drop to the side, and I'm just gonna go ahead and tie a knot in with this. Just a regular right over left, left over right. Make that kind of tight. So we have the start of that first flower there. And then I'm going to jump up just wherever. Actually, what I'm first going to do is kind of pull that knot inside so it's hiding. So I'm just going to go through one of the bottom EyeDuos. And from here, I'm going to jump up to that top hole. All right, and I'll pick up one of my Evas. And in the middle of the Evas, I'm going to add my crystals and my 15s. Actually, I don't need this tail here, so I'm just going to burn that down, and I'll kind of burn that down further later on. But I'm just going to go through. Oh, you know what? I missed one thing. Before I add on my Evas, I want to add a 15, because there is going to be a little bit of space between the EyeDuos and the Evas. So that 15 is going to kind of close up that little gap. So you're coming out of your EyeDuo, picking up a 15, and then picking up an Eva. And from there, I'm going to do a 15, one of my 2x3 crystals, and then another 15. And then go back down through my Eva, pick up another 15. Let me pull that tight so you all can see. And then go through that next EyeDuo. So you'll have that right there. So again, I'm going to pick up a 15, pick up an Eva, and let that fall down. And then in between the Eva, I'm doing a 15, a crystal, and a 15. And letting that drop. Going through my Eva, and then picking up a 15 and going through my EyeDuo. And I'm going to do this, oops, all the way around the next two. And then I'm actually going to stop here at the top because I'm going to start doing my chain from that end. So through these next two, still the same, just a 15 and then your Eva, and then a 15 and a crystal through your Eva, a 15 and then through your EyeDuo all the way around. Okay, so I just came out of my EyeDuo here, and I'm gonna finish up this, the flower part by starting my chain. So I'm gonna pick up another 15 and another one of my Evas. And instead of picking up a 15 and my crystal, I'm gonna go ahead and pick up one of my Silkies to start the, what will eventually become the chain portion. So with the Silkies, you can see, oops, I'm actually gonna be going through the bottom portion of the hole. So the Silkies kind of go through diagonally. So I'm gonna go through just this bottom hole and then go into my Eva. Let's first get those straightened out. And actually, and then down through my Eva, and it'll tighten up. I know it's a little, it's a little bunched right now, but once we kind of tighten that up, you kind of see. And so I'm going to add one more 15. And then another Eva and a Silky on the other side of this EyeDuo. So eventually what I'm gonna do is go up through my Silky, and I'm gonna add on my Evas and my crystals, so that'll be the chain part of the necklace. So again, this will be the left side of my chain, and I'm going to add a 15 and an Eva, and then my Silky, and then down the opposite side of my Eva to kind of get that all in place. Oh, there we go. And one last 15, and we'll go into that EyeDuo again. So here we go, and it looks a little funny right now, but again, what we're gonna do is add on some more thread and then finish off this chain. So I'm gonna go through the outside of what we just did, just to kind of make it a little more secure, and I'll go ahead and tie a knot over on this side by my Silkies. So I just finished up going through the outside rim of my flower, and I tied it off, just kind of hiding here in between my EyeDuos and one of my 15s. And what I'm going to do is start by making my two components that are going to end up being on either side of the flower. So with each one, you'll just have 4 of your EyeDuos. So you'll pick up 2, and then you'll pick up one of your crystals, and then the other 2 EyeDuos. And then we'll just tie that off, so it'll kind of make that nice circular pattern there. So we'll pick up with So I have 2 EyeDuos, a crystal, 2 EyeDuos, and a crystal. And I'm just gonna pull that and tie a regular right over left, left over right, just so that's tight. And you can take your needle and go through that EyeDuo so that you kind of hide that knot. First, I'm going to burn down my tail end. And then I'm going to go through those EyeDuos just so that my knot hides in there. And then from there, you can trim off the rest of this cord or thread. So I'm going to go ahead and make a second one of these. So I have one for each side. So again, I'll have 4 of my EyeDuos. And then 2 crystals. So I'm going to go through 2 EyeDuos, pick up a crystal, and then pick up those last 2 EyeDuos. And do the same. After I pick up my last crystal, I'll just tie a knot so that that kind of stays together there. Kind of pull that tight. And then you can trim off the edges of your thread because you don't need any tail on this part. All right, so eventually these all will go on either side of our chain. All right, so for this next part, you'll want to have 2 needles on either end of your one piece of thread here. And we're going to go through the top holes of our Silky just on one side and make our way up through our EyeDuo component that we just made. So we're going to be doing one side of the necklace and then we'll come back and start on the other side. So using your thread, just thread through your Silky with one of the needles. Just kind of bring that so that it's in the middle of your thread. And from there, we'll pick up one of our Evas and just going through, just kind of straight through with both of those needles. So on either hole, you'll go through with one of the needles. And we can pull that down so it kind of nestles right over top of that Silky. Just like that. And from here, on each needle, we'll want to pick up 1 15 before we go into our EyeDuos. So just on each one, do a 15 and a 15. And then we'll go through our EyeDuos. So you can see that. And just kind of pull that tight. And I'll show you how that all kind of nestles together there. Once it untangles, there we go. And again, it's not quite gonna sit right at first until we kind of keep going, and then we can pull our thread tight so that it lays correctly. So on each side, I'm going to work on just my right side first, and then I'll go to my left side. So I'm just gonna kind of put that needle out of our way for now. And I'm gonna pick up my 15s to kind of just go around my edging of the EyeDuo, and we'll go through our crystal down here in the middle. So we'll pick up about 7 15s. We'll make sure that that kind of lays right there. Actually, we'll go ahead and add 2 more. So we'll do 9 15s on either side. And then we'll go in to that crystal. So I'll just pick this up for you to see. So from here, we're gonna go up through our crystal and then pick up another 9 15s. And then we'll go ahead and do that on the other side as well. So from here, we'll go through the top EyeDuo, and then I'll just kind of put this needle off to the side for now so that I can work on the other side of our little component. Okay, so from there, I'm going to go to my left needle and do the exact same that I just did. So we'll pick up 9 of my 15s. Let me pull this back into focus for you all. And then we'll meet and go through our crystal here. Okay, there we have 9. And let those fall. And then we'll go up through our crystal here. And then add another 9. And again, don't worry about the spacing quite yet. It'll all kind of come together once we kind of get moving further along the chain, and we can take care of that space. So again, I'm picking up my 9 15s. And then going through the top hole of my EyeDuo. So that gives a nice little border around those EyeDuos. And from there, I have both my needles, and I'm going to add my Eva. Let me make some space here. And again, just going up through each side with each needle. And then we'll add our Silky. And you can kind of start moving and tightening up your thread. So we'll add our Silkies to each side of our needle. And then we'll add our Evas. And we'll just kind of keep going, adding our Silkies and our Evas until we kind of have a length that we want it to sit at. So again, we have our Silky, and then we'll add an Eva onto each needle and let that fall. And after this Eva, when you're kind of at the point of the Eva, we'll start adding some of our crystals and our seed beads. So you can see our chain is starting to come together. And so on each of your needle, we'll add our 11s. So let me pour out some of my 11-Os here. So on each needle we'll do an 11, a crystal, and then an 11. And again on the other side. And from there, we'll add another Eva and make sure that it's pointing in. So we'll go through our Evas. And let that fall. And then we'll add our Silky. And we'll kind of just keep continuing this pattern. So we'll do our Silky and then our Eva so that it fits on top of that Silky. And then we'll do our crystal and our seed beads. So we're going to top off our Silky there. Let that fall into place. And then again with our seed bead, and that's the 11-O, and then our crystal, and then our 11 on both needles. And we'll let those fall. And then I'll finish off with one more Eva. And again, we'll just keep going with this pattern until we are at the end of our chain. And so I'll catch you at the end and kind of show you how to finish that off. Again, it's just going to be the same exact pattern until you get that length that you want. So you're going to be going the Eva and then the Silky. So our next bead from here would be the Silky. As soon as I kind of tighten that up a little bit. I think I just knotted it. So I'll have to go in and do that. But so we're just going straight up through our beads. So again, the Silky and then another Eva and then your 11-O, crystal 11-O. So just straight up through until you get to the length that you'd like. All right, so I just finished the right side of my chain necklace here. So I'm gonna go over to my left side and do the exact same pattern that I had already done on this side. So I have my 2 needles on a new piece of thread here. So I'm gonna start off by going through my Silky and just getting my thread getting the Silky into the middle of my thread. And picking up our Eva, so that it's kind of nesting right on top of that Silky. And from here, picking up a 15 on each needle and then going through our little EyeDuo component that we made earlier. So we'll go up through with both sides. And then just like on the other side of the chain, we're gonna add 9 15s to kind of border those EyeDuos. Oh, and let me pull this tight. And again, don't worry too much about the spacing right now. If it's a little loose, that's okay. We'll tighten it up once we get a little further on. So again, just to kind of refresh, we're gonna do 9 of our 15s. And these will go up right along the EyeDuos. Let's see. 2 more there. And we'll connect in through our crystal that we have right here in the middle. And then another set of 9 of our 15s. And again, we'll just keep going with the same pattern that we did here on the right side. So we'll be adding our Evas and then our Silkies and then our 11s and our crystals. And you'll want to keep going up until the length that you have it. So if I can fit my whole chain in here. So I don't have it too far up from my EyeDuo component. So you'll just want to match that up and then I'll show you how to finish up the chain. All right, so I just finished both of my kind of chain portions of my necklace. So as you can see, we have our pendant down here and then we have both the right and the left side done here. And I have 8 sections of these, kind of the Avas and the Silkies. I have 8 of those, so you can get an idea of the length that I have. And I'm gonna go ahead and, starting with just one side, I'm gonna go ahead and add my wire guards on, because eventually at the end I am gonna add some regular chain I have here, just so I can get the desired length that I want. So on both needles, I'm gonna add 4 15s. I'm sorry, 5 15s on both sides. And then just 1 crystal, but I'll go through with both needles. I'll kind of make a point here at the top of our Eva. I'm sorry, our Eva. So using that second needle, I'm gonna go up through that crystal. And so we have a nice point there around our Eva. And then from there, I'm just gonna go ahead and thread on my wire guard. And we'll go from opposite directions, or opposite sides with your separate needles. Just like that. And we'll pull that down. And I'm just gonna pinch that so that it kind of closes closer together. And from here, I'm gonna keep my needles going in the opposite directions. So then I'll work my way down the side of my chain. So with this needle coming out top here, I'm gonna go through that wire guard and through that crystal. And kind of pinch that and pull that tight. And then doing the same with your second needle, going down the opposite side and then through that crystal. And then you can kind of pinch and pull that tight. All right, and here you'll just kind of pull on your thread to get that exactly where you want it. So you have a little bit tight there. And from here, I'm just gonna be working down each side separately. So I'm gonna go through my 15s here and then just keep going straight down through my Eva and then my Silky and my Eva. And just pulling it tight as you go. So we're not adding anything new here, we're just gonna rework through what we've already strung on. And we will be going down both sides, so I'll show you that. So going down the opposite side, you'll go through your 15s. And then just straight down through your work. Again, just remembering to kind of pull tightly as you go so you can kind of get rid of any of those spaces that were left behind. All right, so just work through all the way down until you're just about down here, so I'll catch you back there. All right, so I've made my way down through my work on this one side. So as you can see, we just added our wire guard up here, and we've made our way down to the connection point at the Silky. So what I'm gonna do here is just tie it off. So I'm gonna go through just with one of my needles and go through over here. And I'm just gonna tie off these two strings here. And just a regular right over left, left over right. And I'm gonna burn off one of the sides, and then I'm gonna use my needle on the side that I didn't burn off yet to just go back through that Silky, just so I can pull it a little bit to hide that knot. And just kind of pinch it and pull it, and then I'll burn off this extra thread over here. So I have one side done, so you can see that, and I'm gonna go ahead and do the exact same thing that I did, and I'll do it over on this side. So again, with my two separate needles, I'm gonna add 4 of my 15s to each side. So let me get those. And then we're gonna add my wire guard so that we'll be able to add the chain at the very end. And I think I said 4, I meant 5 of these 15os here. And again on both needles. And then we'll add the crystal. And again, it's just the one crystal that you're gonna go through with both of your needles to make that point above our Eva bead. So I have my crystal here that I'm gonna pick up with one needle and then just go through with my second needle. Just like that. So from here, I'm gonna go ahead and add my wire guard on, just like we already did on this side. And I'm gonna work my way back down through what I've already done until we get down to our Silky at the second connection point, and just go ahead and tie that off. So now that we have the chain part of our necklace done, I'm gonna go ahead and add a nice little briolette here in the middle of our pendant. And so I have my threaded needle, just one needle this time, and I'm gonna pick up one of our crystals and then 4 of our 15s. And let those kind of drop together. And then I'm gonna pick up our briolette and then add 4 more of our 15s. There we go. And after I have those on, I'm going to go up through that crystal that we had already added on. And you can just pull that. So you can see we have a nice little kind of dangle here. Like that. And so now we're going to go through our EyeDuo. So just the EyeDuo up here. And pull that so that kind of sits nicely there. And I'm going to go back through my seed beads and my briolette just so that I know that it's nice and secure there. So just with our needle, I'm going to work my way back down through our crystal and then through our 15s. And once I get back through, then I'll kind of go back around and tighten up that thread. So again, don't really worry about that space right now. Let me move this. Because once I'm back up here and ready to tie that off, I'll pull it tight so that it's nice distance and right where I want it. So back up through those 15s, then up through our crystal. And so here I can kind of pull on both of the ends of my thread. I'm going to go back through my EyeDuo one more time. Oops. The wrong side there. So back through my EyeDuo. And now just kind of pull on both sides of your thread so we have it nice and tight so there's not much space between everything. And then we'll go ahead and tie that off. So I'm going to flip this over so that the knot's on the opposite side. Just do a regular right over left, left over right. Let me do that one more time. There we go. So I had my thread just on the wrong side. So I'm going to pull that tight again. And I'll tie the knot. And I'm leaving the needle on because I'll go back through my EyeDuo so that I can kind of hide that knot. So I'll burn off the thread that's not attached to the needle. And then I'm just gonna go through my EyeDuo and pull a little tight so that I can hide that knot. Okay. And now I can burn off that extra thread. And I'll flip this over so you can see I have that nice briolette there. So now that we're almost done, I have my flat back crystals here, and these are the SS16, so these will fit perfectly in our little EyeDuos here. So I'll pour some of those out. And I also have my Loctite glue here. So I'm just gonna go around and put just a little dab on each of our spaces. And grab. And if you don't have Loctite, that's fine. You can use super new glue or whichever glue you prefer. So we're just gonna do a little dab. Along each of these. And I'm also using my Crystal Fix Picker Up tool, which is really useful for these smaller chatons, or these flat backs, I'm sorry. These are the flat backs. So you're just gonna pick up one at a time, just kind of get them where you want them. And it's really nice because I tend to be clumsy, so I definitely get glue all over my fingers, usually when I'm gluing. So this really is such a nice tool to kind of get all of these exactly where you want them without gluing your fingers together. You can kind of position them right where you want, and then I'll also get our little side components here. And again, just a little dab of the glue will be enough. And we'll go ahead and do this side as well. And then go ahead and get these guys in there. And you'll want to make sure that you kind of let this glue dry. It is quick drying, but you want to make sure you let it dry before you start kind of wearing it. Also, this is why I kind of decided to glue these on at the end, just so that you're not, when you're working with your piece, you're not worrying about having them fall out or anything. So here we have almost the finished project. And we'll kind of let those dry. And then next, after these dry, we'll put on the chain. All right, so now that we are just about done our necklace, all we have to do is add on the chain at the very end. So for me, I want this about 18 inches long. So from the tip down here, I'll show you. So from the tip about where the very point of that EyeDuo to where my wire guards are roughly about 7 inches. So I'm gonna add just 2 inches of wire, of chain here to the end, and I already pre-cut this. So like I said, it's 2 inches. So I'm gonna be adding these to each side of my necklace here. And I'm gonna be using a Claspgarten clasp to finish it off. So using my jump rings, I'll just go ahead and, this is kind of the easy part. Just open these up and connect my chain through my wire guard. So this is where you can kind of hold up your necklace and kind of see where exactly you want it to hang. And then that'll determine about how much chain that you'll add on. So if you want it a bit longer, you can go longer. If you want it shorter, you don't even really have to add chain. If you want it more as a choker, then you can, again, measure it first. And you can either keep going with the beads or you can add the chain. You know, again, just depending on where you want it to lay. So we'll close that up. And again, just double check that they are even. I think I have 1 length longer. So let me just cut that one off, just so that it's not lopsided while I'm wearing it. All right, and now just to add on that clasp. So again, just with the jump rings, and we'll open those up and connect it to your clasp. And we'll get our last jump ring here. And connect to that. And there we go. So we have our clasp here with our chain, and then we have our whole necklace. It's kind of hard to get the whole necklace in in the shot, but I'll put it on so you can see exactly where that lays on me. So then it can help you decide if you want it either shorter or longer. Thank you for joining me in creating this Pharaoh's flower necklace. Again, if you need any of the materials, they are listed at the beginning of the video as well as down below in the description area. You'll see a full list of exact colors I used, as well as links to both PotomacBeads.com and PotomacBeads.eu. Again, remember to like and subscribe if you'd like any notifications of any new designs that we have. And as always, we love to hear from you. I'd love to see how this inspired your own designs or how you changed it up to make it your own. So until next time, we'll see you then.